Hey ladies and gents, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Kiesha Allen. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and also hit the bell notification button to receive notifications for my new videos. Now, let's get into the video. Alright ladies and gents, so as you can see, I am doing a story time. It's my first time ever doing a story time, so this is a little different for me and I like basically trying out new things. So this is a story time about the first time I was drunk. So I do not condone underage drinking by any means necessary. So if you're over 21, cool beans, you can drink all you want to, but if you're under 21, please do not drink. Please, I beg you, do not drink. But I was 21 and I was with my friend and I was over her house for just like to hang out or whatever, and me and her are no longer friends, so I'm not gonna put her name out there and stuff like that because you just don't want to do that. But anyways, I was at her house and she basically was like asking me, oh, do you drink? And I was like, no. And then she was like, well, you're gonna drink today. And I was like, okay. Now remind you, this was all on my free will. I wanted to do this. She did not force me or anything like that. But we went to her car or whatever and we drove to the liquor store. Now remind you, I've never bought a bottle of liquor until that day. Like, I was terrified. You could tell I was a newbie. But I walked up in there and I looked so scared, and then I was like, okay, the cashier is looking at me like, okay, why is she in here? She looks too young. And then I was asking the cashier, where is the I think you say tan something, but it was basically dry gin, and I had to get that bottle, and then I had to figure out the size. Now remind you, when I was in there, like before I was in there, I asked my so-called friend what size she wanted because I didn't know that there was different sizes, and then she was like, get the smallest one. They didn't have the smallest one. They were sold out of the smallest one, so I had to get the second one. Now remind you, I paid for this bottle by myself. So I get back in the car. So after I pay for it and everything like that, I get back in the car and we go back to her house, and she's like, okay, we're gonna make these drinks now. I'm like, okay. So she ends up making the drinks and I tasted it at first and it was disgusting. Like, the lime in there, it didn't have enough lime juice. It just didn't. So I was like, what in the world? This is a terrible first experience for a drink. But I drank it, you know, after putting lime, like more lime in there, and going into like the third drink, I was drunk. So I didn't know I was drunk. Like, I was just sitting there thinking I was okay. I stood up and I about fell, like on her kitchen floor. Like, it was just too much. Now remind you, I had to keep myself together because I had to go home. So my mama didn't know, you know. I was just walking perfectly fine, and then I was like, okay, what in the world? So I had to go home, and when I went home, I had to walk upstairs because at the place I stayed at, I had to walk up at least 12 stairs. So remind you, I am pissy drunk. Like, so drunk that I can't even see where I'm going. So I'm walking and my friend, she's laughing at me from the car because she knows I am drunk. Now remind you, I had to be silent. I had to be silent because my little cousins were down below me at the time. They were like in the room right under me. So when I was walking up the stairs, they could hear every footstep. So when I walked in the house, I was like, okay, Kiesha, you gotta get yourself together. You gotta get yourself together. because I had to talk to my mama because she decided she wanted to stay up that night to make sure I got home safely. Now mind you, I had to keep it together so she could not think something was wrong. I just had to pretend like I had a great time and I was all happy and stuff. But no, I was drunk. I was drunk. And then I got to my room, and when I got to my room, I about fell just getting on my bed. How do you fall going on a bed? I don't know. Ask the drunk me and I can tell you. It's just too much. Like, I still remember that day to this day because it was just so funny. I was laughing at myself the entire time. And then when I was trying to take my shoes off, I couldn't get it off. Mind you, I was wearing boots. Like, how can you not take off boots when you're drunk? You're supposed to know how to do that. I literally tried to pull them off, and it was the kind of boots where they were like up to your calves, so I had to zip them down. I couldn't zip them, so I slept in my boots that night. I said, forget it, we're just gonna sleep in my boots. So I ended up sleeping in my boots, and I woke up the next morning with such a bad headache that I would not wish that upon none of my enemies. None whatsoever. But it was like the most fun yet crazy night I've ever had in my life. But that is the end of the story time. Thank you for watching. Please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below your first time drinking if you're over 21. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, bees and gents.